Welcome, good people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm never late, Marlo. I'm always on time. I might not be there when you call, but I'm always on time. Yeah, here we go. Woo, man. Well, most people didn't realize a lot of the incidents that was transpiring throughout the game because for some reason people didn't go back and check it out or see that there were certain concerns about the safety of the athletes or the professional people that were helping out in the situations. They didn't realize that there was a lot going on that people did not take awareness to. And please hit the like button coming through the door because we got a lot to discuss. I want to make sure we don't miss anything in this video. Um, Thank you. I'm just giving people time to get in. Now, we all remember the incident that happened during the game with Isaiah Stewart and LeBron James, and that became the whole essence of why people are so up in arms or even caring about the Pistons today. Because normally this would have just been a win loss on somebody's column. It's a game in November. Now, people bring up the fact they was like, well, the Malice in the Palace happened in November. Now this happened in November. Something about Detroit in November. Anyway, I knew that would come back to be the conversation, as some people call this, Malice in the Palace Part 2. Again, which is unjust. This is a singularity incident, and I've studied the situation of looking at it from all different type of angles. So now that I've looked at it at different angles, I can tell what was the intention, what was going on as far as the meaning of what happened. The Lakers, as far as this game, from when it started, they weren't in it. They were being exposed. Emotionally, physically, they were being taken out of the game. So right away, the stage was set, and they weren't ready to meet that energy. The Los Angeles Lakers cannot gather that type of energy to move forward to combat what was happening with them. This road trip was taking a toll on them because they had been playing at home all of these games. They had 12 of the first 15 games at home. So they've been sleeping in their beds, unprepared. And now that they go on the road, somebody said I would sue LeBron. This is assault. Um, we're going to get to that. So going into this game, they were being outplayed. Isaiah Stewart, for what people don't know. Now, let me remind people. Isaiah Stewart played in Indiana in high school after switching schools. His team was the Lakers. He used to box in school competitively. Box. So he knows how to throw a punch. He knows how to throw a jab. He's knocked people out with headgear on. I mean, knocked them out cold. Isaiah Stewart can fight people. Let's get that under control first. He has had contract offers from every Big Ten school. Syracuse wanted him. Georgetown wanted him. He had contracts to go to any school he wanted, including definitely Michigan State. Shouts out to at Kwame Brown Bus Life, at Self Talk, at Straight Talk. Don't forget to hit the like button here and definitely subscribe to the page. Thank you guys last night too for the super chat. I woke up and in the super chat, I mean the Cash App, which was Carcino. You guys did that. I was very appreciative to see it. Thank you very much for that because I did not expect it. Um, Besides that, I seen people super chat during the last live stream we did last night, which was cool because we got to talk about this. But leading up to this, we're gonna get to that. The game was physical, but it was light. This was like one of the lightest physical games I've ever seen. Like, and far as the clutch, they were boxing the Lakers out, and the Lakers was frustrated because they were missing. They played terrible against Boston. They were starting the game off even worse in this game, and it was weighing on them. LeBron was disgusted because he was being basically out muscled and couldn't really do anything with Isaiah Stewart. He's a full athlete. And people think it's a coincidence because the team he played for in high school was called the Lakers. And now here he is battling LeBron against the Lakers, Isaiah Stewart. Uh, Things took a turn for the unforeseeable. And don't forget, hey, yes, hit the like button. I appreciate that. Yes, the like button. Yes, that's free. You don't have to cash out Carcino to hit the like button. But thank you. I appreciate it. Well, if you send a message that does not have profanity, I guess they won't delete it. YouTube have their own moderators that take out comments and things like that. That's on them. Isaiah Stewart is why the Pistons let go of a player who I thought they should have kept, who ended up bouncing around and ended up on the Lakers, actually. So I was like, why would we get rid of Sekou? But because of what we saw out of Isaiah Stewart in his rookie year, we decided to keep Isaiah Stewart and let Sekou go. Now, last night, Cunningham didn't have a big game. He wanted to impress LeBron James. You know, he looked up to LeBron and those guys. It's the Lakers they playing, so he was really playing out of his brain and making a lot of mistakes. Grant had it word. Jeremiah Grant was having a field day on anybody they put on him. They couldn't stop, Jeremy Grant. But one of the keys in the game was Isaiah Stewart because of the way he played defense, the way he was keeping guys off the glass, and all of these different things that they did in the game. Now, I saw this game go and take a turn to the worst once this melee took place. That cost the Pistons the game. Pistons would have won this game had Isaiah Stewart stayed in the game. These are facts. My cousin that was here, that was the first time me and my cousin really hung out together in about, I want to say 13 years. the other day, so y'all don't know that was like history making the other night. Us watching the fight together because we used to go to all the boxing fights together. So that was historic. That's a whole side note to the stream yard that we did. The jab juice making people act out. Oh my goodness. No, hit the like button, people coming through the door. Let's get it going on. Now, I'm here, and you guys know I am a diehard Piston fan to the core, Detroit Piston fan, but I'm calling this fairly, and you know I hate LeBron. So now, and hate is a powerful word, I know, but yeah, I hate LeBron. So now, right away, I have to look at the incident. I told you I watched it from every angle. I saw what happened. Was LeBron frustrated? Absolutely, he was frustrated, but not to the point where he was trying to hurt Isaiah Stewart. I hate this like everything about LeBron James. Um, Now, here's the situation and where things started to make a turn and go into a area where people would probably be like, hey, what's happening here? Doesn't make sense. Well, let's get to it. Mm-hmm. Um, please. Isaiah Stewart wasn't thinking like that at all. Let me tell you what was happening. They were just locked in playing a basketball game. That's that's basically it. When the game first started, they reached out and I mean, from when the game started getting out of hand, like at halftime, in the locker room, Fogel was telling the team, "You're not playing with any heart, any intensity. I need you to step up the intensity. Let's go. Come on. Let's go." The patty cake man, Fogel. So they came out in the third quarter to meet the challenge of Detroit. Jeremy Grant, they wanted to get more up on him and make him have to put the ball on the ground and exert energy and shut the rest of the team down. He was hitting incredible shots in the game. Now, as it started to play out and the game started to unfold more and more, you started to see a pattern that was developing. You started to see a pull away point. And what I mean by a pull away point, you started to see the game was the energy that they were bringing to the game, the Pistons met it and it hit like a wall. It's like an irresistible force meets an immovable object. Who wins? It just stands still. So the Pistons lead was just like, we can't crack this lead. They're not relinquishing the lead, and we're using our energy here. Then they have the biggest timeout in the history of sports when this happens. LeBron is being boxed out on a free throw. And as soon as the free throw goes in, LeBron James is linked and bent to the side. What LeBron was trying to do was hit Stewart's arm off of him with force. He's trying to swing his arm back and hit Stewart's arm and knock his forearm away. That was LeBron's intention. LeBron didn't say, I'm finna crow cock this guy in the face. The only reason the punch went high is because LeBron is off balance. He's pushing LeBron under his arm. He's got his forearm under here and he's pushing him up. So LeBron's arm is up. So when LeBron swings, he's not going to hit his arm. It's going to come across his face because he's linked this way, and he swings back and he just hits him across the face. And LeBron's body language tells everything. If you stick your hand out initially, that is a sign of conceit. Like, I'm conceding, like, oh, my fault. That was his initial response. He stuck his arm out like, oh, my bad, when he saw him go down. Like, he didn't want to do that. That was not intentional of LeBron to hit him in the face. He intended to knock his arm away, but he hit him across the face. It was accidental, but it happened. He hit him across the mouth and caught him across the eye or whatever, but it wasn't an intentional thing. But it was a shot, closed fist, like around above the shoulder, so he had to be ejected. They were going to just call it a single technical foul and not throw LeBron out the game until that all the incident in melee happened. It was going to be a flagrant one. But it's above the shoulders, so it's a flagrant two. LeBron got to go. So they basically, before they could get to all that, Isaiah blew up the whole scene. And once he blew up the whole scene and tried to get to LeBron, because he's hot, because he don't know in LeBron's intention. In his mind, LeBron is mad because they losing. He pushed him out, and you just hit him in the face. In this face, intentionally, in his mind. And now he can feel blood coming out his face. He's pissed. And he just exploded. He wants a piece of LeBron, and LeBron don't want it. I'm going to tell you right now, LeBron James don't want it. Now, once this starts to get more and more out of control, the narrative's starting to change now, because everybody is hearing about, on the court and everything. But now we're going to go into what was happening in the stands from people who were there. The people who were there was nervous because they was like, oh my God, somebody call the police before this turns into the malice in the palace. And the fans are going to start fighting. It was a Laker fan who was sitting right there in the stands, and they were telling the fans, everyone remain seated, everything's under control. Let the security people handle. The Little Caesars Arena did a much better job, prepared for anybody who was thinking of getting up. They said, do not leave your seated area. Don't get up and start moving around. Stay seated, stay in near your seats. Don't get up and start moving around. So they started to move. Like, some people were starting, they weren't caring or couldn't hear anyway. It was just loud. Everybody was standing up to try to see what was happening. And some people that were there said they couldn't see. They had to stand up in order to see what was going on. And Anthony Davis was livid that he was trying to fight LeBron. LeBron's a good guy. How dare you try to raise a hand at LeBron? So Anthony Davis want to get over there to stop Stewart. The coaches are grabbing him Anthony Davis, I don't even know if it's on there. They said Anthony Davis shoved one of the coaches who was grabbing his leg like Jeff Van Gundy was holding on the morning's leg. And they said he got grabbed and thrown out of the way because they're trying to keep him from going out there and basically getting hurt. Anthony Davis. And he grabbed Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis grabbed him and threw him like a rag doll. I'm going back to see that anyway. Yes, the Palace, unfortunately, is no longer. I love the Palace in Auburn Hills. I don't know why they moved and they tore down the Palace. That still is like upsetting to me. I love the mall over there in Auburn Hills. That was one of the biggest. I thought we had a big mall. Their mall is connected, thank God. You could walk all the way around. This mall out here was like one of the biggest malls ever made at its time, only second to the one in Minnesota. But you got to, if you walk all the way to one end, you got to walk all the way back to the other end. Ain't no we gonna reconnect. You can't no going in a circle. But Little Caesars did a great job in making sure people were safe. So no, I don't really think that's a fair assessment. I think after the fact, when LeBron did that, if Ty knows Ty, you are brand new here, sir. All you got to do is check my file if you want to question me defending LeBron James. You are new here, buddy. Oh my God. Yeah, I already know he don't know. I know Ty don't know any better. Ty, I'm just telling you the truth. If my thing is I'm truthful. The reason I dislike LeBron is because of the truth. Facts. Facts are the reason why I don't like LeBron. He's a punk. He's a quitter. He's a sore loser. He's a spoiled, narcissistic, egotistical bum, overrated basketball player. These are facts of why I don't like him. The stuff he do off the court is why I dislike him completely. He's a chump. So because of that, and because of those reasons, he's not going to be around. Like he's not going to be somebody that gets our respect. But I got to tell the truth. The truth is LeBron didn't try to hit him in the face. LeBron tried to knock his arm away. When LeBron was being pushed to the side, he swung, he tried to knock the guy's arm off of him because he was being pushed and manhandled like he was all game. He was frustrated, and Stewart is stronger than him. And he tried to be assertive and swing back to knock Stewart's hand off of him, his arm. He was lean to one side, so when he swung back, he just caught him in the face. And he immediately was like, oh, when he saw Stewart go to a knee, go down to like one knee, he turned around like, oh, like my bad, you know. Yeah, he didn't want to do that. So when Stewart got up, man, he's just trying to get himself together. Like, man, and he just exploded. He was mad. He'll come. I mean, he'll probably now that he's calm, and he'll see that that wasn't the intentions. They play next week in Los Angeles. Oh my goodness! I am looking for plane tickets. I am looking for plane tickets. Stewart might be suspended for a game. Well, the thing is, the reason why Stewart will be suspended because he didn't leave the court accordingly after he was ejected. Uh, because at first he wasn't. He was the person that was hit, so he wasn't initially ejected. Like nobody had ejected him out of the game, and that's what I'm saying. He didn't. So for people saying he didn't leave the court at the time that he should have, like at appropriate time, he was he wasn't the person who was ejected. It's what happened after the fact that led to his ejection. He was throwing officials and coaches and all anybody who got in his way was getting thrown out the way. So he wasn't the one ejected. People said why he didn't hit LeBron when he first got up. He got more frustrated from people grabbing on him, but he had to get his bearings back together first. And the way LeBron was standing there and the rest of the Laker teams, the way they were egging him on, like saying, like, what you gonna do? Once they start doing that, people like Westbrook and all these other people, that became a situation. Now, well, you got to think about it. A lot of people could have been injured by the way Stewart was moving. There's a lot of people in there that's like fragile, like coaches. They could have been seriously hurt. You can hit the like button, people. Don't be allergic to hitting that like button. So Stewart might miss a game. I don't see him getting more than a game. One game should be enough. Like he didn't do anything. He was reacting to being hit. He's never been known as a dirty player or somebody that's fighting people all the time. So he doesn't have a reputation in the league for that. He's not a dirty player at all. This is his second year in the league. He's a 20-year-old kid, played at Washington, played for the Lakers in high school. Naming his team was the Lakers. He boxed in high school. I mean, he boxed professionally, like competitively rather, in school. So he knows how to throw punches. So this is just one of those instances where he was hit in the face, got his bearings back together, and then exploded. Once everybody started grabbing him, and then all the Lakers fans is trying. I mean, the Laker players are out there, trying to keep him back. Then Russ is acting like, "Come on, let's do something." Once you trying to front Russ, you're not a tough guy. Don't do it. You're a tough talker. Don't do it. Now, what happened after this? took a whole nother turn because they decided they had to move in a different direction as far as where they wanted to I mean, like where they wanted to do with the game, as far as that. They had to get the scene under control. So once LeBron was ejected, it was so that LeBron can get, you know, himself situated, but they had to make sure they got there. The Detroit police was called. Somebody from inside the stands had called the cops, and then somebody else said, "You guys might want to come up to the Little Caesars Arena." Now, the cops are already there. They called for extra units just so they could secure the rooms in the back. They already had guys back there. Once he got back there and they was able to, you know, get to him, he was able to calm down. He was trying to the hallways are connected, so he was trying to go over to the Lakers room so he could find LeBron James and get his hands on LeBron. But they were able to stop him. Once he got in the locker room in the back, they had security back there. He didn't get that. No, so he had to receive 5 stitches. And the doctors told him, we got to start, doing that now, instead of you lost a lot of blood. So after he calmed down from using all that energy, he could have injured himself further. They said, just calm down, have a seat. They sat him down, got him calm, and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to start stitching you. So they're in the back, and the doctors are working on him. He's calm. He starts to calm down. He was yelling. He didn't want anybody grabbing him. And this is what was making him even worse. Just like, don't grab me. Let me go. I'm good. I'm not going to go after anybody anymore. They said, well, security's on the door. The police are here. So this is going to be something extra. You don't want extra. So the NBA officials and everybody else is coming back there to make sure, what's going on. Because, Adam Silver get woke up, and he's got on silver pajamas with glitter. Now, he looks like he goes to bed with one of those little hats with the ball on the end of them with the matching pajamas. Russ got a tech for egging on the Stewart. Russ got hit with a tech. Russ don't know why he got a tech. I'm gonna tell him why he got it. You got a tech for instigating Stewart to come on with it, and you throwing your fist, talking about let's go. They slapped you with a tech just for doing that. When they trying to get a situation under control, you about to escalate it to another thing. And Stewart would have ate you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He'd still be eating Russ right now. Now, their whole thing was protecting LeBron. LeBron, they wanted to get him out of that place as quickly as possible. So LeBron had to go hit the showers immediately with security. Now, and the security didn't get in the shower with him. I didn't see that. But so the police was there with you know, the Pistons. With the Lakers. They had extra police security at the hotel, not in case Isaiah Stewart would show up, just in case fans and somebody who saw that and they thought like it's on and they want to take things into their own hands. You get just for safety precautions, they had extra security. The players stay at the Westonbrook Cadillac Hotel. That's downtown in Detroit. So that's where the NBA players are. So at the Westin down there, the Weston Brook, they stayed there. They kept a unit downstairs. They had a unit, by the floors where the players are, just in case they were doing shifts. Anyway, so instead of doing crime out on the streets, they got to protect LeBron James. So the Lakers floor was being protected, but LeBron was being protected until they can get in and get out of there. They were able to get all their stuff prepared and head to the plane and get the heck up out of there. No, LeBron didn't do an interview. LeBron wasn't going to stick around for an interview. It was too dangerous to have LeBron hanging around doing an interview. They want to move LeBron out of there and let the players do the interview with the press. They know what they were going to interview LeBron about, and LeBron just wanted out of there. LeBron was calm. He didn't think harm would come to him. He knows he got security. The NBA has extra security for LeBron James when he goes to places. So, this the other players they can give a damn about. But, the incident was about LeBron. So, but next week, Stewart will be ready to go. Oh, the fourth quarter was a disaster for the Pistons. The Lakers putting up 37 points in the in the fourth quarter to the Pistons only scoring 17. If the Pistons scores 24 points in the fourth quarter, they win. That's it. You'd be like, look, we put up 24 points in this quarter, we win. They when the game started back, it was not the same. Everybody was drained of energy from the Pistons because they took all of the team and their energy went to grabbing and holding Isaiah Stewart. Cade had nothing left. Everybody was done. They had been trying to wrestle this guy, and the whole team wrestling and trying to hold him and going back to the locker room. Then it was like, all right, we gotta get back to the game. It's like the game. The game was over then. The game was over then. Completely. Everybody was spent. Russ is now fired up to play. Russ is so he's getting off, especially in the fourth quarter. Guys are just like, oh man, whatever, man. I just want to get through this night. This night was crazy. Frog face. Old frog face is out there ribbiting last night. Ribbit, don't. I'm like, dude, you ain't got to make an ugly face. All you got to do is just make a face. Hit the like button. I mean, exactly. Did you see how many people it took to hold Stewart back to try to hold him? Did you see him breaking away from some of the most strongest players in NBA history? But the fact that remains is LeBron James did not try to hit that man in the face. That's facts. He tried to swing back and knock the guy's arm off. See, I won't lie on LeBron because I don't like him. I was just gonna tell it how it is. No, he didn't, Sean. He did not try to hit the man in the face. The punch went high because he was being pushed up from underneath. So he tried to swing and knock his arm off of him. He was being pushed to the side, So he's like this. So when he swung back, he ended up hitting the guy in the face instead of knocking his arm off. Do you think LeBron James is built like that? He isn't. He was trying to be assertive and knock the guy's arm off of him. Yeah, he closed his fist and tried to swing his arm back to knock the dude's arm off of him because he's being manhandled by a strong 20-year-old kid. So he's trying to show, hey, I'm still King James. He's trying to swing back to knock the guy's arm off of him. He wasn't trying to hit him in the face. But Stewart had pushed him up and he was like this on one arm. So when he swung back, it went high because instead of throwing it like this, he's throwing it like this because he's being pushed upwards. It's clear to see. So when he came across his face, whack! Oh, I love that. I said, oh no, you just lit a fuse. Mm-mm-mm. But what was shocking to me is his teammates. This new soft generation, they letting the Lakers and all this, everybody trying to control the situation. I'd have got down. Nobody was getting down with Stewart. Like, yo, he right. Every man, I mean, like, man, they could have calmed him down a little bit. But if one of them Pistons teamed up with him and said, man, he right. Let's rock and roll, baby. Oh, it'd have been on. They'd have probably took the Pistons. Man, we would have never saw a Piston game on TV ever again. I mean, is the Pistons still in the league? The Pistons are now going to be playing in Seattle, the Seattle Pistons. I'll be like, they're not playing in Detroit no more. I'll be like, oh my God, what is happening? But man, Brian dropped him, man. I'm like, man, I'm watching that like I might not be able to take LeBron. If me and LeBron got into it, I don't know if I can take him. Now, he might be stronger than I thought. He might be able to take him. I don't know. I don't know. It might be he might give me a challenge now. All right, Outlaw. Yeah, I might do a stream yard after Monday Night Football. It all depends. I was gonna do one last night, but I was asleep. After I was doing the live stream drive, man, I was like, yeah, I might stay up and do this, man. Well, we gonna. It was Sato, Sato. I was so tired last night. Me and my cuz, dude, we caught up on like 13 years of everything last night. It was like the night before. We didn't go to sleep because I'm like, man, I didn't tell you about that. It's like, nah, I didn't know that. I'm like, man, no, we caught up on like 13 years. T was at the game yesterday. Oh my God. T, we definitely got to get on the stream, y'all. You supposed to be making your way down there, T. I'm gonna be like, look, T in there. Yeah, they grab T, be like, look, man, Daz, my name is Daz Dillinger. They gonna be Daz's out there on the court. Right, they just blame Daz. LeBron sabotaged the game. He didn't mean to. That's the only bad thing about it because the Pistons wanted to lose that game. The Lakers came out and tried to be assertive, and they met that head on. The Lakers came out and, like I told you, the Lakers came out and tried to meet that energy. And when they came out to try to meet the energy, oh, okay, I was gonna say, the Lakers came out and tried to meet that energy head on. And when they tried to go head up with them and meet that energy and like we gonna be together like this, head on, boom, 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 like a collision, I knew they were making a mistake. Like they tried to come out so hard in the start of that third quarter, T. And what I saw was a team the Pistons did not relinquish any of it. For real. They didn't relinquish any of it. I said, man, they getting tired. They getting wore down, wore down, wore down. They met their little run. They tried to come at Detroit, and Detroit is stifling them with defense. It was the way they defended them. And when you take Isaiah Stewart out of that situation, you see how spent the team was after trying to deal with him. They were tired. They were real tired. They was out of juice before everybody had it cooking. Like if Grant is cooking and you got Grant cooking, you're gonna have a good game. Then after trying to hold down a bull who, I mean, dude, you see how many teammates it took to hold him? Cade trying to hold him. He an 18, 19-year-old rookie trying to hold on to this bull, this 20-year-old bull who, boom, knocking them dudes down like, whoa. They were falling like bowling pins. Now the game on the 20th, that's the game that we're gonna see and see where we are. I mean, not on the 20th, but next Sunday they play in Los Angeles. So the Lakers Pistons game might get boosted up into a whole new rating system now because of this. Because if Isaiah LeBron might pull a toe injury and be like, "Oh, LeBron has aggravated his hamstring on Saturday and will not play against Stewart." Oh, we gonna see about that. Cause the whole world gonna be watching that game Sunday. If they think I ain't gonna be watching that game, I will be ready to go. Oh yeah, the new team is just raw talent. They just got to play together. The more they play together, the better they'll become. And they were playing better basketball once Cade got there. Once Cade came back, the Pistons have been in games. Beforehand, they were getting like blown out the water on a lot of games. Now, when Cade was there, it loosened things up a little bit because he can actually control the ball. He's dangerous on scoring. You got to watch him and pay attention to him, but he opens up the floor. So now that the floor is open up and you got to move around to get to him, he can move to swing the ball around. Guys can get easy and more open shots. So yeah, and he had a bad game. He had a triple double last night, but had a bad game. And that's the only reason Cade had a bad game is he really wanted to show out because he was on the playing against the Lakers, but he was exhausted, man. He was spent from trying to hold that bull down, and that affected him on his shooting. Shooting was off. Well, Cade can shoot the ball. Like everybody know that. He just gotta. He'll get more consistent the um, the longer he does it. Like once he gets asserted to a position, gets stronger, he's gonna be one of the most dangerous shooters in the league because he's somebody that could do like what Magnu Raul used to do, stop and pop. He got that. He could dribble, go back, pop, and just pull up and hit. You think it's wild, but that's like what the form they could do. That stop and pop. Like Magnu was really good with it. Like he'll be dribbling, stop, pop. You'd be like, whoa, that was quick and accurate. I wouldn't call K dumb because he tried to shoot over AD. That's not dumb. He's just young. He's 18 years old. You got to realize he's got to change the range. You should have pump faked there. AD would have jumped into him. Then he could have went up with the shot. He'd been shooting 3 free throws. Um, that's something he's gonna learn once he get older. Some of the decisions that you make as a shooter. How to really get the defenders off balance. LeBron proved he was the strongest man in the world. Why? To me, Isaiah Stewart proved he was the strongest man in the world. He just went through about 15 men. It took a whole team to hold him, and he was still breaking loose. So he proved to me he was more stronger than LeBron. You would have saw how strong he was once he got his hands on LeBron. I guarantee you that. You would have seen how not so strong LeBron was once Isaiah Stewart got his hands on him. I tell you that. What's up, Meezy? He was trying to get his bearings back together. He had just got sucker punched. So he bust his lip and cut his eye just swinging like that across his face. That showed me, man, LeBron's got some strength left. And I'm like, man, Isaiah, he bust his lip, cut his eye off one punch. So I'm like, man, LeBron is stronger than I thought. I'm like, he might be able to take me. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, this might be a competitive fight if I was to just go at it with LeBron. We might. It, I was worried about people, jumping me like Russ and AD and all that stuff, but I'm thinking now he might could take me now. I don't know. We might have an even fight. Yeah, hit the like button for that. Yeah, I wanted to do charity boxing match with LeBron. Just doing a celebrity boxing, but I'm not a celebrity. I just want to get in the ring and punch him in the face. But now after seeing this, I might need to sit out. But Isaiah Stewart is a former boxer. He boxed, I won't say professionally, but he did it in school when he was in high school and college. He boxed. He was on the boxing team in college. So competitively, that's what you use. He competitively boxed. So that means he went through boxing training. He's been in fights. He knocked the guy out who had on headgear. Knocked him out. The headgear didn't matter. Isaiah Stewart dropped him competitively. What's uncompetitive boxing? Street fighting. All I know is next Sunday in Los Angeles, in the house that Kobe built, you're going to see. We're going to see if LeBron shows up. I know Isaiah will be there. It all depends on what they ruled this week. Well, he's probably calmed down. Isaiah Stewart is not that kind of guy. He felt it was deliberate initially because that's the initial thing. He hadn't seen it, the replay, and he hadn't spoke since. So once we get his side, once he's calm, I'm quite sure once he's calm and everything. But he had lost a lot of blood, and by him keeping his pressure up, he was at the point about passing out. So okay, Richie, big man doing all that talking. You and every Piston fan in Detroit felt LeBron did that on purpose. That was not his intent. LeBron's intent was to knock his arm away. He wanted to knock Isaiah's arm off of him. And while doing that, he swung back and hit him across the face. Yeah, he tried to apologize immediately. When someone sticks their arm out, that is conceding everything. I don't know if you guys learned body language. We did learn body language and what things mean with gestures and hand. Initially, you stick your hand out, you're giving away control and conceding power, just saying, hey, it's an extension. That's why in conversation, if you stick your hand out, people stop moving. They don't know why they do it. Someone's walking toward you, you stick your hand out and say, hey, let me talk to you. It's you're trying to take command by sticking your arm out, but it stops people from moving. People would normally walk past you and do 1,000 steps past you. But if you put your arm out, you stop and get their attention. They just stop. It's universal. You go, quick question. Um, where would you go if you just was talking like, hey, quick question? They just walk right past you. Walk right past you. But if you stick your arm out and do it, hey, quick question. They stop. Oh, they ain't cooled off all the way yet. I told you where they were gonna end up. They got off to that 5-1 start. Now that car is sputtering. Now they finna start pointing fingers. Now people about to be traded. And the Knicks, man, I wish the Pistons, if we can get Maxey from Philly, woo! But the Knicks can get him. That's who the Knicks need. They need Maxey. Get Maxey from Philly. Yeah, man, I wasn't here, so I didn't watch. I didn't watch BMF yet. Power season premiere was, I think, last night too. The season 2 of Power Book 2. Stars wanted to do a segue event and make it go from one episode to the next, and screwed up the launch by putting a week where there was no, for that episode 7 garbage they did, messed up that whole thing. So I'm gonna talk about BMF after I watch the finale, then we'll get into that. We could probably do a stream yard on that, but I don't know. I might. Depends on how I feel later on. All right, man. It's been over an hour. So we are done. Thank you guys for coming on here today. I appreciate it. People got to realize Meech and all them, the King of Detroit and all that, dude. They success really didn't hit into the Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? People got to realize that, y'all. I guess y'all don't know. A lot of people don't know the story, but they didn't really blow in Detroit like everybody else did. Like the people in the '80s before them, the old heads who did it. Yeah, it was Johnny. There's a lot of other guys out there, man. No, they blew up the Atlanta scene. VMF was lies. What are you talking about? The show? Are you talking about? Well, it's a television show. Most of the story that's played out in here is definitely not how it went down in real life. In real life, it was way more brutal. For real. Somebody was used as a shield. Um, like I think Meech got hit. It was a like pop. It was a lot more stuff going on that you knew back here in the D. They was driven out basically to Atlanta. Um, what they did was they started mixing, like stretching a product out, right? So the guy who y'all know as Lamar on the show, in real life, that's another person who was real. He ended up making a product cheaper than what Meechnam was doing. Basically knew what they were doing and started cheapening the product to sell it at a lower capacity. And he had 12th Street basically in the areas over there on lock. And that was shortening the money that Meechnam was getting and was really drawing away a lot of the clientele. And they could not go to war with him like that, you know. And he didn't really have too much of a problem with them. He was just a businessman. And he really was, at that point, there's a lot of other things that transpired, but they ended up seeing Atlanta as a windfall. And, they hit it at the right time when they did hit it. There was an open lane. And that's where they made the bulk of their money, or the bulk of the power and all that stuff came. That was mostly Atlanta, then Detroit, but it started in Detroit, you know. So you got to understand there's a lot of elements that played in place. We had a lot of people we know from Flint that got involved. A lot of people from Saginaw, uh, MC. So a lot of places. Detroit ain't just Detroit. It's from people all over Michigan. Uh, what you mean, like you guys are putting it in a place like we mean like they couldn't come back to the city. But I'm just saying the money was not gonna. It was you got an opportunity to make more money somewhere else. It's better for you here. You know what I'm saying? To make that money here than to come here. Pontiac, not as much. Pontiac had their own thing. They didn't really want to be associated with Detroit at first. But Pontiac did become the place. Pontiac was more suburbanized. It changed over the years. But like in the 80s, 90s, nah, you ain't want to mess around with Pontiac. That was like super racist and divided. You didn't want to be out in Pontiac. If you was out in Pontiac, you was going to the damn Lions or or Piston game. Other than that, that's it. That's the only time a black person better be in Pontiac. Yeah, now blacks took it over. That place Pontiac used to be all white. You kidding? Black dude would not be going. If you was in Pontiac, you played for the Lions or the Pistons. Now, yeah, now Pontiac is probably one of the most hoodest places in the world. That was evergreen for us. That was evergreen for us. In 19 Evergreen Plaza in the 80s, Even back in the 70s, you couldn't even go to Evergreen Park in Chicago. Evergreen Park, that's where Kanye West used to work. He always talk about he was working at the mall, he was working at the Evergreen Plaza. Now, the Evergreen Plaza Mall in Evergreen, Illinois, which is, I don't even think Evergreen, Illinois is really a place. It's attached to Chicago. Like, that's Chicago. But it's on 95th out west, 95th and Western. So you're on 95th and Western, and right there is the Evergreen Mall. It used to be all white. All white people stayed there. That there was so many, they were racist, just brutally racist to you there. You wouldn't even dream of going to Schaumburg. So Evergreen, the mall, you wouldn't even want to show your face in that place. He said Starsky and Hutch. So anyway, over the years in the 80s, blacks started coming out and moving to Evergreen. So they was buying houses out there. And more white people were selling their properties. And all those older white people that lived in the Evergreen, they moved like the suburbs. They moved way out to like Schaumburg and sold their places. Some of them passed away from old age and just end up, the younger family members end up selling the homes. And they just started migrating further back. Like, I'm going further out, getting away, because there was too many blacks moving in and going to the mall. They didn't like it. So now that whole area ended up becoming more and more black. By 1992, there was so many blacks coming into the mall. White people were scared. So they started moving away because old white couples used to go there. They wouldn't even buy anything. They would just walk in the mall to get their exercise in as a couple. And they said, oh no, it's too many blacks, young black kids coming in the mall. We got to leave. So they start selling their houses. They complained to the committee and they left. They had the movie theater there that was packed with everybody black, and House Party 2, House Party 3, all these movies start coming up to Evergreen. And these was like the first time like black films was up there besides the Eddie Murphy movie. Eddie Murphy was the only one that had movies that showed up. Next thing you know, they were movies galore. All the movies popping up in there. Then they start getting stores that dedicate clothes to black people. Coda and the JW. So that's how it rolled. Now they don't even call it the Evergreen Plaza no more. They just call it the Plaza. It is ghetto as you could be. I wouldn't be called dead in the plaza no more. They took Evergreen off of it. Like, do not, it's giving us a bad name. People go there just to fight. Meet me at the plaza. If I see you at the plaza, it's going down. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I can't go there no more. Ford City, same way. Bedford Park, which is like right across the street, is the most racist area you never. The first time I got called the N-word was in Bedford Park. I had never like by a racist person. They were in a moving car driving away, of course. And then they got stuck at a red light, and my cousin was with me. He's like, "Do you think I could get there before that light turned green?" I was like, "Don't even do it, cuz." I was like, man, if I'd have known they was gonna get hit with that red light, we could have just went. And man, we'd have caught them. That wouldn't have been nothing nice because we was in. They felt comfortable because they was on their land, and it would have been brutal. So yeah, me and Cuz would have did a number on them. Who knows what had happened to us? We'd have been in a Bedford Park jail. Oh God, that wouldn't have ended well for us. Oh yeah. So when we watched the Terrence Crawford fight, me and my cousin, that's the first time we seen a fight together since 2008. It was 2008. A lot transpired during that time, but that was like the last time we saw a fight. It was like 2008. Was it? Might be in early 2009. But a lot had transpired. Like my grandfather had just passed. It was a whole different thing. But then we talked about something that you guys didn't know. I might have told y'all in the hood story before. I might have told y'all in the live stream, but on the Patreon, this is the first time me and him talked about it in years. Like, because I haven't really sat down and had a like we talk and stuff. We see each other, but it's the first time we really like hung out, and that was years. So he came out here and we hung out, but we talked about the time because I'm glad I had a witness. The time that we saw not that, but the UFO. And when we saw the UFO, it was three of us that was there. It was me, my boy Drew, and him, my cousin that was here. So I brought it up to see if he remembered. I mean, because you ain't gonna forget when you saw a UFO. You never gonna forget that. So I just wanted to see, did he like suppress it in his mind if that didn't exist? And my boy Drew, I brought it up to him because the three of us were the only ones there that a UFO would show up in the hood. I said, "What in the world is this?" UFO, bro. And we're gonna go into all of this on the Patreon today. So you'll know everything more about it in the conversation, how the UFO did it and what happened after that. This will blow. I talked about it, but I didn't go into full detail. I think I've just spoke about it before, but not like this. Because now I'll tell you what me and cousin, because we've never had a sit down conversation while we're grown about this UFO thing that we saw. Because we tried to come up with every excuse in the book of what it could have been, any besides a UFO. So yeah, that's going down today. So only on the Patreon. That's only going to be discussed there because you're going to learn some details that will probably be like, well, we've seen that now, but you got to remember, this is when the UFO thing happened. We were kids. Like I'll say, I was probably in high school, or I was probably in ninth grade when that happened. Me and my friend Drew, we're in ninth grade. My cousin is in like seventh grade. So This is like high school. So we're teenagers, basically. Me and my boy. We teenagers. So when we see this, we're probably ninth grade, sophomore year. We're looking at this from we're teens. We're trying to assess what just happened here and why are we seeing this thing? What is it? And why no one else is seeing? Somebody else has got to see this. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, we'll talk about it more on the Patreon. I'm gonna get out of here for the second time. I'm getting out of here. I did another 20 minutes.